take yesterday that I think I might need to recant.
What's that?
We were talking about ESPN's NBA power rankings. And I was just kind of looking at it, and the Kings are 8th in the West. And I was looking at it, and I'm going, I think because we went, okay, the Pelicans are ahead of the Kings. That makes sense. The Grizzlies are ahead of the Kings. It's like, oh, that's banking a lot on John Morant. They would have to, even if the Kings won the same amount of games, they would need to win 20 more games to pass the Kings. Like that's a big jump. And so we're kind of hemming and hawing. And then I was looking at the Suns, and I felt like the Suns have now gotten to the point where they are, I don't want to say underrated, but I think we're writing the Suns off too quickly because they got just housed in the playoffs last year. But that's still that's still a really good team. And so I went, it wouldn't shock me if the Suns won more games than the Kings. I think the Suns are going to win more games than Kings. But then I started thinking about that because that's what I do. Is I say what I'm going to say, and then I think about it later.
Always works out.
Totally. But sometimes it does. I said the Clay and Buddy thing. Turns out I was right. This one, I think I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think so too.
So let's because I am of the belief that DeMar DeRozan makes the Kings a playoff team. So we have to put the Kings in the top 6.
Mhm.
So let's run through the top 6 then. So I'm going to by default here recant my take. I think Oklahoma City is going to win the West.
Yep, I'm with you on that.
They're 1. I'm going to call Dallas 2, and no real particular order. I'm going to call Dallas 2. Let's say Denver 3. Let's say Minnesota 4. Let's say Kings 5. We can even go Kings 6. I think you've got New Orleans in there.
Yeah.
I think you have to. I think you have to put the Lakers in the mix. Maybe.
Yeah. You got LeBron and AD, so you're always going to be in the mix. But how I feel about them.
You have to. I think you have to factor in that the Rockets might be better.
How do we feel about the Clippers?
I'm out.
Out
on the Clippers. But basically by default, as I was going through this, it's like unless the Suns are the number 5 seed in the West, they won't win more than the Kings.
I'd be shocked.
In my logic train of the Kings are a top 6 team. Minnesota, OKC, Dallas, Denver. I feel like I'm missing one.
You said Dallas, OKC, Denver, Minnesota.
Oh, New Orleans. Kings. New Orleans is the one, but I'm putting them to the side for a second. That's your top 4. I have the Kings in there. So unless the Kings are 6 and the Suns are 5, I don't know that the Suns are gonna win enough to be the 5 seed.
They're not a team built for the regular season, I don't think. And looking at
the postseason, apparently.
Well, that's the thing. Looking at them last year was kind of like, all right, yeah, they're not, because this was me all last season. It's like, yeah, they're not playing well, but like once we get to the playoffs, like this is what they were built for. Like KD's gonna turn it up. Like Beal hasn't looked great or whatever, but they're like all those guys will be ready to go. Like that's what they were built for. And it's just they got to the playoffs, like, oh no, they still stink. And not stink, but more so like they're not who we thought.
They won 49 games last year. They won 49 and 33. That's where I think the reason I think they're gonna win some games here is because what you just said. They can't coast to the playoffs. So you're gonna get Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and I guess to a lesser extent Bradley Beal playing hard every night.
See, are those guys gonna stay healthy though?
Sure. And that's kind of where the hang up comes. Is even if you're banking on him being healthy, Grayson Allen going to have another career year? Is that just a thing that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Can Kevin Durant stay healthy? And if he does, can he play at an MVP caliber level for 38 minutes a night?
Unless I'm mistaken, they still have no real point guard, right? At least starting?
Not as far as I know.
Yep.
So I guess that's a bad take. Bad take by me.
It was a take.
Maybe if something goes wrong with the Kings, maybe the Suns wind up winning more than them. But I think the Kings are a playoff team.
How you feel about the Clippers, I think is how I feel about the Suns.
Oh, interesting.
I just don't buy into it. I don't believe it. I don't think they can get to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they can win a championship. Like you'll get to the playoffs. Maybe the right matchup. You'll get to the second round, but you're just not a team that I believe much in at all. Like you're going to go do anything. Like I can't see a run from the Suns.
The Clippers won 51 games last year and lost Paul George. How many wins Paul George worth? 5,
I say they
6.
6 maybe. I mean,
The playing team.
they're gonna need. That's the thing. They're gonna need Kawhi to be healthy all year
That
to be a
so
playing team.
that's what's weird. So the Kawhi thing. The Kawhi thing changes my thought on the Clippers a little. I still don't. If they make the playoffs, I think it'll be because they sneak in as a 6 seed. But the Kawhi thing is where I get hung up because apparently Team USA was the ones that got him out of there. And I don't know if that was because, and Lawrence Frank, the Clippers' president of basketball operations, said he's looked good in practices. We were really excited to watch him play, and they decided they didn't want him. I don't know if that was a health thing. I don't know if that was because he hadn't been playing well as well as Lawrence Frank thought he was in practices. Maybe it was what he was telling the doctors. But if it's true that he was healthy and ready to go and play this summer, and Team USA said thanks, no thanks, we need to get bald NBA champion Derek White in here, then I feel a little bit better about LA.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting 70 plus games of Kawhi, because remember there was a section of last year where Kawhi looked like the MVP.
Yeah, yeah, he was playing.
He was playing and he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're getting that version of Kawhi, and it's James Harden and maybe Terrence Mann takes a little step up. Okay, yeah, maybe they mess around and win 47, 48 games, and they're in that mix for the 8 seed.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, the 6 seed. But they're not winning 50 games again.
I don't think so.
Like, no chance.
They're just not built for that. They're going to take a step back.
The good news for the Kings is I think they're better with DeMar DeRozan. Let's call it 50 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like 50 wins you're in.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think their floor is 50. KC, I think was about 50 to 52. I'm at 50.
Yeah, and you can. This is baked into everything, right? It's barring health.
Yeah.
But that's the case for literally every team. I think a fully healthy version of the Kings is 50 wins, and not to say that's just the reason sports is awesome is because we don't know. So maybe they smoke a game or two here and it's 48 or 49.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're gonna be in there. I don't think it's gonna be 46 or fewer again.
Well, yeah, it's like last year, like say like going into this or whatever, you had DeMar DeRozan, maybe you win a couple of those games against the bottom feeders of the NBA.
Yeah, and I think they would. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a couple of those close games down the stretch where they needed someone to take over and go get him a bucket. Mm-hmm. I think it'll help with that. Yeah, I think they're right about 50 wins. I don't think the Lakers get to 50.
Lakers might not even make the playoffs.
I don't think the Suns get to 50. The Clippers don't.
Can I also say too? I think the Kings are gonna be better than the Pelicans this year. I don't think we're gonna see it with the Kings 6-0. Like I don't. The Kings are gonna be better than the Pelicans this year. I think.
Here's my. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. The vibes are terrible in New Orleans right now. At least from the outside. Maybe a New Orleans fan would hear that and be like, "Insane person, idiot." Okay, but to me, as an outsider, vibes horrendous. And I think if the Pelicans had gone, the reason I was putting that was the fifth team. New Orleans was 5, Kings were 6 in my kind of layout. Mm-hmm. The only reason for that is because of the 6-0 thing last year. If New Orleans went 4-2 against the Kings, that's still winning the season series. But I'd be like, well, the Kings are just they're better this year. But that 6-0 just really sticks out in my brain. So I go, well, you have to put the Pelicans ahead of them. No, you don't.
Yeah, no,
you definitely don't.
I was doing the same thinking and all that, but yeah, I'm just firmly the Kings will be better than the Pelicans this year. Lock that in.
Yeah, and again, this goes for every team. Maybe Zion, this is the year. Maybe this is the year they get 75 games out of Zion. And maybe Brandon Ingram takes a back seat with DeJounte Murray in there and they maximize what Brandon Ingram's doing. And now you got CJ McCollum as like a 6th man type and Trey Murphy takes a leap and oh my God, look at the Pelicans. Sure. But I'm banking on what the Kings have going. And this isn't even purple glasses. Mm-hmm. This is just, you look at where the Kings were last year. They added DeMar DeRozan. They've been relatively healthy the last couple of years, the Malik Monk injury notwithstanding, the Kevin Huerter injury notwithstanding. And I think that you see the Kings and you see their trajectory going the right way. With the Pelicans, you can't bank on. I just said if Zion's healthy, cool, okay, yeah. But
Stephen McBride.
Is anyone betting on that?
No, I'm not.
Me
Stephen
neither.
McBride throws in the chat like a guy like them losing Jonas Valanciunas, like that's gonna hurt them too. Like he's not
Massive
necessarily
dude.
this amazing NBA player. Where it's like, oh yeah, he's top 10, top 15, top 20. Doesn't matter. Like he obviously had some impact on the Pelicans. They're gonna feel that too.
Yeah, because Daniel Tice is not like Daniel Tice is a fine
I love Daniel
backup
Tice. He's
center.
not Jonas Valanciunas.
Yeah,
Not close. Not as physical. None of that.
No, that's a nice center to have. But like Larry Nance played a ton of minutes for them last year. Larry Nance was at one point they were going like small ball, and he was their 5, and that was it. They have a ton of stuff to figure out. They were going to trade Brandon Ingram, and then now he's just going to be there. That's a weird vibe.
Yeah. How do you feel about Joe Schmo in the chat? Says the West isn't worried about Memphis. How do you feel about them? I'm a lot higher on them than everyone else is, I'll say.
Yeah, I will. I'm not penciling them in for a playoff spot right now. If I think they're going to start a little bit slow. But if you told me by the end of the year that they were like 48, 49 wins and stuck into the playoffs, I wouldn't be floored by it. I think they're a play-in team though.
Yeah, I don't have a definitive take on whether they'll end up yet because I'd like to see like just how it looks with Ja back and all that. But I do believe in them a little bit more than others. I think because I think Ja is like along the lines. He's an Anthony Edwards type player. Like he's that good. I think we kind of forgot just because of the off the court stuff, all the dummy stuff he was doing and all that, and just kind of his injuries. So it's been a while, but I think he'll get back to reminding people about that.
Yeah, that I mean that's it's their path. Like that's the path for them for sure. I'm not going to pencil them into the playoffs yet. I'm going to call them a play-in team. Here's my prediction: Memphis gets off to a slow start. Watch them start like 10-1. I think Memphis is going to get off to a slow start, and they're just going to kind of be digging themselves out of that hole all year. They eventually hit their stride a little bit. They win like 46 games, 45, 46. They're a play-in team, but they are the trendy pick.
Yeah.
They're going, hey, nobody wants to see them in the play-in.
I could see them kind of like Dallas, where like Dallas, I don't think anyone was picking them to go to the finals or whatever, but it was kind of like if there's a team to do it that can make a run, like Dallas has been playing well since the trade deadline and all that. So I can see Memphis kind of doing that if that's along the lines of their season next year.
Yeah. Like, the second seed doesn't want to see Memphis in the first round. Yeah. That's more likely the path to me than them being a top 6 seed.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're just awesome with